Hello, this is Mr. BNSF Train and welcome to Trains Around Kansas City from March 5th, 2017. We start by heading down to Kansas City Southern's Notch Yard and the nearby Mid-America Car Inc., where diesel locomotives are repaired. BNSF 3169 is a GP50 built in 1981 as Santa Fe 3816. 2792 is a GP39-2 built in 1975 as Santa Fe 3665. A Kansas City Southern ES44 AC waits on the North Kansas Avenue Railroad crossing. Two CIT GP38-2s are sitting in Mid-America Car with their ditch lights on. Also spread around Mid-America Car were some City Rail ES44 ACs which were built around 2015, and there are a lot of them. Also seen is number 9468, a BNSF SD70 MAC that was built in 1994 for the Burlington Northern Railroad. The cab of EMLX 8544, a Union Pacific SD90 MAC-H2, still sits here. It came to Mid-America Car in 2006 and was disassembled in 2011. Mid-America Car also repairs some covered hopper cars, as a few are seen. This Milwaukee Road passenger car has been at Mid-America Car for as long as I can remember. Some of these 1500 series ES44s have been down to Mexico. I really like this shot of some ES44s, another SE70 MAC, and a pair of SW1500s. Here we see Kansas City Southern 3952 with some replaced parts. I got a good shot of this SD70 MAC's builder plate, which was built in 2000. On the back of the locomotive, you can see a spare knuckle for the coupler, because you'll never know when the coupler might break. This shot here is one of the few times I've actually climbed on a modern diesel locomotive. This is the builder's plate of one of the trucks that was built by Progress Rail in 2016. The back side of 3952 does not have any ditch lights, as wide cab locomotives rarely reverse. It seems as though this locomotive is in the middle of an overhaul, as it was done in East Chicago and now here in Kansas City. I found out that these new unpainted panels were installed when it was in East Chicago. This SD70 ACE was originally built for its Mexican subsidiary, TFM, as number 1652. Surprisingly, this engine wasn't in its KCS Southern Bell livery until 2015. Between these two engines, there were some signs laying on the ground. This side of the hopper car nearly tells you everything except for the number, owner, and when it was built. Sitting in a fresh coat of paint is BNSF number 283, an SD75M. It was built in 1997 as number 8283, and it was in the Santa Fe war bonnet. This engine also has some handbrake instructions, and I don't know how often locomotive handbrakes are used. 283 lost its 8000 in 2014 to make room for an ES44C4. 283 still has its General Motors trucks with Timken bearing. The fuel gauge of the 5,000 gallon tank shows that it has 75% filled with diesel fuel. Underneath the frame you can see a lot of pipes and hoses that are also painted into the black. Just like on 3952, the bell is mounted under the frame. My dad will ring it again. There were also these other little bits that I took pictures of on 283 and 3952. Here you can see how weathered a frame and trucks can get on a locomotive. This can even happen after a few months after it was repainted. This was also the first time I've seen an SD75M in new BNSF paint. A few other SD75Ms are also here, probably to get the same treatment 283 got. I don't know if you can see it, but this ABDX hopper car was built in 1980. There wasn't too much here in the Kansas City Southern Yard, but I do like taking pictures of these Canada grain hopper cars. I also saw this rather unusual looking gray auto carrier. Me and my dad then drove to see this old steam locomotive. It's located at Dreamus Avenue and North Chotu Traffic Way, and me and my dad have seen this engine before. I took a screenshot of the Google Maps location of this engine. No, I haven't been the last person to see this engine, as some branches were removed from this area between 2013 and 2017. According to various sources, this locomotive is owned by someone in Wellsville, Kansas. And I found this locomotive was in Kansas City by near accident because I was looking at some old passenger cars that were nearby. This car is mounted on an MRLX flat car that has retired spray painted on it. I found a picture of how the locomotive might look when it's completely assembled. My dad managed to climb up onto the flat car and go inside the cab and found a builder's plate. The engine was built by the Davenport Locomotive Works in 1927. I found out the engine was originally built for a Newhall company in Maple Grove, Ohio. In 1931, it was then sold to the Longmont, Colorado Great Western Sugar Plant. Its Great Western Sugar Company number is unknown. The locomotive was fitted with a strange box on the left so it can be filled with coal. The locomotive was last steamed by the Great Western Sugar Company in 1976. It was then sold to a private owner in 1978. The engine was stored at Riverside, Missouri until being repurchased by a new private owner and moved here in 2006. It was stated that this engine was going to be moved down to Wellsville, Kansas in about 2008, so it can be restored and converted to 3-foot narrow gauge. It was planned to be operated on the Miami, Kansas tramway, but I can't find much information on that. The locomotive's drive axles are placed behind the locomotive and not under the frame. The only thing I couldn't find under this flatbed were the connecting rods for the locomotive. Behind the flat car was this Hayes track bumper stop that was built in Richmond, Indiana. Hayes is the company that makes track bumper stops. I assume this drawbar on the ground belongs to the steam engine. On the siding next to the steam locomotive was this passenger car which bore the number HRC 3822. It looks like as if it was originally a railway post office car which was rebuilt with standard mobile trailer windows and doors. Around the car you could see dates such as 2002, lubricated in 490, which I guess means it hasn't been touched since then. But at least it's not completely rusted on the outside. Since the last time was there, a former Missouri, Kansas, Texas Pullman car has been moved out of here. It is MRLX 925. Here you can see BNSF 248, an ST75M which originally was numbered A248, but it has its BNSF markings covered up. Name Pacific 4522 is a GP39-2, which was originally built in 1977 as a Union Pacific GP40X. 7229 and 6200. Here comes a BNSF train. 7481, 5158, 5272, and 6643. There's the Amtrak.
number 61.
Amtrak number 61 is a P-42DC built in 1997 and has worked on Midwestern routes for most of its life. Directly behind the locomotive was Amfleet Cafe Car 48177 and is of the Amfleet 1 type. Coach 54550 is a Horizon coach and is mostly seen on trains through Indiana. The old Phase 3 baggage car was still on the River Runner at this time, but was now the 5th car instead of the 4th. Now we move down to Argentine Yard to see some more SD75Ms, including 264, which was built in 1996 and was repainted from a war bonnet in 2003. Number 261 also shares a similar story. The 261 is more worn out and is on the storage siding. 4543 SC44-9W was also on the storage siding, and it was built in 1999. Although CSX owns no trackage into Kansas City, a few of their locomotives can be seen around here, including 663 and AC6000 CW, built in 1999. But there is also a second CSX locomotive here, number 4821, an SD70 MAC that was built in 2004. And I think CSX EMD wide-nose locomotives can be rather rare. But I also saw something much more rare than those two, a BC Rail C40-8M. And BC Rail locomotives can be rare anywhere outside of British Columbia. This particular full-body unit, or cowl unit, was built in 1993. Note the cab roof mounted bell in red. Also in Argentine Yard, I saw this high-side wood chip hopper car, which is brown with yellow stripes. And I also saw a group of 13 SD75Ms. Probably the most SD75Ms I've seen in one day. And that concludes this video of trains around Kansas City. Thank you guys for watching, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video.